I should have recorded this video about a week ago, but guess what? Procrastination happened. I have procrastinated on almost everything in my life, from returning that call or text message to completing that project, from learning for that test to writing that project, from making that video or even reading that book. I have at some point in time called myself the queen of procrastination. I know I shouldn't be proud saying this, but procrastination has messed up my life in so many ways that I can't even talk about. Sometimes, instead of just sitting down to do that work or that project, I would rather procrastinate on it by going to watch videos on how to beat procrastination. Is that serious? So today I'm going to share with you a book titled Eat That Frog, 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time. So kindly subscribe to the channel, like the video, please don't procrastinate about it. Let's get straight into the video on how to beat procrastination. Number 1, set the table. He says one of the major reasons why we procrastinate and even the lack of motivation to do a certain project is the fact that sometimes we are confused about it. It's not really clear to us. So he says that the first step is for you to decide what you want. So you sit down by yourself, you sit down with your boss, you sit down with your friend, and clearly define your goals. What exactly do I want to achieve from this? You define your goals, you define your objectives, and you put it into writing. This is a step closer to actually achieving that. And he says that one of the worst things that you can use your time for, or one of the very worst things about your time, is to do something that you were not supposed to do it in the first place. So you sit down, decide what you want, write clear goals, and it's a step closer to avoiding procrastinating. Number 2, plan in advance. Planning is very essential. There are other people who even say that you should plan the night before, and this is very true, and this can be very essential, because if you decide to plan the night before you wake up the next morning, you already know what to do, where to start. You start your day on a very good note. You know what to do within that day. But if you do not plan, you wake up and you are all confused and how to get started with your day. You can even procrastinate on things throughout the whole day. And so the author says that when you plan in advance, sometimes it takes about just 10 minutes or less, and it will save you hours and hours of time. And when you plan well, it increases your productivity and performance. So there's this 6P formula that says that proper planning prevents poor performance. When you plan your day in advance, like by, let's say, keeping a list, having a to-do list, or having a list of things you want to do like the next day, it gets easier to start the day going, and you just keep going and you keep completing those tasks. So plan your day in advance. This way you can beat procrastination. Number 3, apply the 80-20 rule to everything. So the author says that 20% of the things you do will account to 80% of the results. So let's say I have 10 things to do on my list. He says that there are 2 things that when I do them, it's worth more than the other 8 things. So you should plan in such a way that you focus on identifying those 2 things. So you prioritize on your list and look at the 2 things that are very essential, that when you do it, you are getting results for about 80% of the things. And so you focus on that, and it helps you with time management, and time management is life management. So keep a list, prioritize, and focus on the 20% of it. Number 4, consider the consequences. You know that there are certain tasks that the consequences can either be negative or positive, like the results out of it. And if you do not do those tasks, it's going to cost you a lot. And so, for example, you have final exams to write. You know that if you do not sit down and learn and pass the exam, it might cost you 2 years of your life. And that is so much of a consequence. You know that your boss has given you some work to do. You know if you do not complete that task within time, there might be a cut in your salary. And so you are supposed to prioritize enough to know that these certain tasks that if I do not do them, the consequences are going to affect me on a great deal. So you make a list, you prioritize, and you start tackling those that the consequences are higher, either positively or negatively. You also know that if you sit down and learn and pass the exams, probably you might get a job quickly. So you weigh things down, and the one who is able to identify the consequences of a task and able to start with that task is the one who will start winning. And so you practice delayed gratification in certain areas instead of going to the park to play or being on social media and scrolling through. Sitting down to learn by delaying the fact that you'll be on social media to play, and sitting down to learn will give you the positive and the best results. So consider the consequences before you start doing certain things. Number 5, practice creative procrastination. I know this video is on how to be procrastination, but you and I know that there's no way we'll be able to do everything. There's no way we are going to get the time to be able to do everything we want to do. And so you have to consciously procrastinate on certain things, and that is why I've been talking about a list all along. So you look at your list and you deliberately procrastinate on things that bring you less value or small value, so that you'll be able to focus on doing the important things and the major things in life. So you have to deliberately procrastinate on things that do not really matter, probably in the moment, or do not really matter at all, and focus on the most essential and important things. Number 6, prepare thoroughly before you begin. Make sure you have everything you need for that project before you start. Assemble your papers, prepare your materials, research, put all the tools you need within your reach, so that when you start working on the project, everything is at hand, like everything is closer to you for you to continue working. Instead of leaving everything scattered somewhere, you get up to go and pick it, you get distracted, and by the time we know, we'll not find you on that project for over a week. So make sure you prepare thoroughly before you start working on that project. Number 7, take it one oil barrel at a time. Sometimes you want to work on a particular project and it's so huge. Let's say you want to write a book. There's no way you can write a whole book in a day, and so you keep procrastinating that I don't have the time to write the book. But the author is saying that cut them into pieces, like detail it out into steps on how to go about it, instead of thinking that you keep procrastinating and get like an amount of time to be able to write the book. You can start by saying you want to write a page a day, or just putting 15 minutes, like setting 15 minutes aside to work on that project. And so when you start it one step at a time, you are getting closer to completing that project, and you are beating procrastination as well. Number 8, upgrade your skills. The more knowledgeable you are in a certain field, the sooner and the faster you are able to complete that task. And so you have to determine exactly what you are very good at, or what you could be good at. Pour all your heart into it and get going with that project. Upgrading your skill is such an important personal productivity tool or principle of all time. Like as Pat Riley says, that anytime you stop striving to be better, you get worse. You see, the minimum requirement to being successful in any field is continuous learning. You cannot win in a particular field if you do not keep improving, if you do not keep upgrading your skills, if you do not keep getting better. And so you have to continuously learn to get better, and you'll be able to achieve the things you want to achieve faster when you have the right knowledge and the right skills. Number 9, identify your key constraints. Sometimes between where you are and what you want to achieve are major things that are in between, fighting against you being able to accomplish that thing. And I have noticed personally that sometimes I procrastinate on certain projects or certain things I'm supposed to do based on probably fear, or sometimes I'm just lazy about it. But then I ask myself, why do I feel fearful about this project? And it could be that maybe I'm not just knowledgeable about it, or I don't even know how to go about it in the first place. But I also know that there's a deadline for submission. Let's say I'm in school, they give me an assignment and I don't understand, so I keep procrastinating on when to start working on it. But there's a day I'm supposed to submit, so what do? Identify your fear. Okay, you don't know how to go about the assignments. Go to somebody who knows. Get started, start researching about it, start learning about it. And that's what we've been talking all along. Identify the constraints, tackle them at their beginning, and when you're able to solve those things or tackle them, then you are easy to go and you're easy to be able to accomplish your task. So you have to identify where the problem is coming from and get that solved, and you'll be able to do whatever you want to do. Number 10, motivate yourself into action. Sometimes to perform your best, you have to be your personal cheerleader. You have to encourage yourself. You have to develop a routine where you coach yourself into doing it. Sometimes the world is filled with people who are waiting for someone to come and encourage them or to come and push them, but sometimes no one is coming to rescue you, and that's the problem. There are certain things that if you do not do them by yourself, nobody will do them. And so if you keep procrastinating and you keep putting it aside, you are just wasting your time and you are putting so much burden on yourself. So grab yourself up, motivate yourself, get going, put the pressure on yourself, ensure that you accomplish it. And I have noticed that I find so much joy when I'm able to accomplish such an important task or something I've been wanting to do, and I'm able to accomplish it. I just feel so much joy within me. So motivate yourself, get going, keep doing. If nobody's clapping for you, clap for yourself and get going. Number 11, technology can be a wonderful servant or a terrible master, depending on how you use it. Sometimes I feel like social media is a curse on my life. I have a particular project to work on, or I have something to do, and instead of just sitting down to do it, I'd rather scroll on Instagram, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, just be laughing around than actually doing it. And so you have to put certain measures in place, probably reduce distractions by putting some of your notifications off, or sometimes you just have to throw your phone away, or sometimes you have to just set specific alarms or times that I have to do this work at this time. And social media can as well, or technology can as well be a wonderful servant. We use our phones to do great things. We use them to write things. You can have a to-do list on your phone. And so you have to draw a line between using social media for good things or it distracting you. And so social media can be a blessing or a curse depending on how you use it. Number 12, handle every task. Sometimes I think that I want to get a lot of things done at a go, so I multitask. So I do this for small minutes, I jump to this, I jump to that, and I realize at the end of the day that I didn't complete anything and there's nothing I can actually write home about. And so the author says that you should handle every task, because multitasking is a waste of time. You are not able to focus on one thing, and sometimes moving from one project to another, you waste a lot of time. So when you start on a project, make sure you complete it 100% before you move to another project. One thing I've also realized about procrastination is that sometimes there are habits, and our habits are part of us. There are things we do automatically that we do not even stop to think whether they are the right things or not. You just keep scrolling on your phone and you enjoy it, and well, other important things are going. So I've made 2 videos on habits, atomic habits, tiny changes that will bring remarkable changes in our lives. And these videos I have made will help you break bad habits and create good ones. And when you create good ones, of course, procrastination will not be part of it, and procrastination will be a thing of the past. So I'm going to link those 2 videos to you. Go learn about habits, go learn on how to build good habits, and well, we'll all be beating procrastination one step at a time. My name is Truus. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, like the video if you haven't already, and share this video with your friends. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my other videos. Bye bye.